How do you make the biggest possible impact on people in your public speaking? We talk about that next in our book breakdown. As public speakers, it is incredibly crucial that we are lifelong learners, that we're constantly learning how to get better at our craft, more successful, and therefore having a better and bigger impact on the people that are listening to us. I am committed to lifelong learning, especially when it comes to public speaking. That's why this book on this edition of Book Breakdown is one of the most influential in my own speaking. This is by the authors Chip Heath and Dan Heath, and the book is called Made to Stick: Why Some Ideas Survive and Others Die. This is a New York Times bestseller. And the idea behind this book is that your ideas, if you want them to be impactful, they first must be memorable. They must be, if I can use this word that they're using constantly, they have to be sticky. They have to stick to people's memory. They have to stick to people's hearts. They have to nag at them. I mean, when you say something, a person has to leave and not just forget about it, but it's gotta be just deep down inside of them. They think about it that night, in the morning. In other words, it's making an impact on them. And there's a good way to do that, and there are bad ways to do that, which is the whole design of these videos is to help people learn how to speak well, how to speak effectively, persuasively, and confidently. But a lot of what I've learned from other people, and this is one of them. The basic thesis behind this is that there are about five, I think it's five, or it might be six, supportive elements in your speech, your lecture, your education, your written paper, if you want to go there, your YouTube video, your Instagram Live, whatever medium or format you use to communicate a message. There are about five, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 supportive elements. You could consider these your toolbox that you reach from and grab to use in order to empower and shape the point that you're making so that it can make a big impact on the minds and hearts of those who are listening. And I just want to spend the rest of this video just going through them so you get an idea. I'll break each of these down in subsequent videos, but I want you to know just right off the bat what those 6 are, and maybe before we even do a breakdown, you'll begin to think fresh about the way you present material, your voice, your messaging to other people, and you can start thinking of how you can include some of these things. The first one is simple. This is the bedrock of all the other 6 supportive elements. The Heath brothers talk about simplicity, meaning that we as experts, and if you are passionate about something, as I've spoken before, you have a unique vantage point, a unique experience, a unique point of view on that particular topic that makes you unique and have some degree of expertise in this sense, that nobody is coming at that particular topic in the same way as you, and because of that, you have a valuable thing to offer to the world. Now, as experts, one of our tendencies as experts in any field is to share too much. You know, we live up here in the details and in the concepts and theories, or we simply get drowned in the data. Because we're experts. We love that stuff. We love the nitty-gritty. We love speaking about all of the difficult things and the technological challenges and specs. But the people that we're speaking to aren't necessarily where we're at. They just need to be shown that there's an opportunity or a possibility in a problem they're facing. And because of that, we as experts have to learn how to be simple in the things that we share and not overcomplicate our message I don't know about you, but I have a very hard time sometimes overcomplicating things, and this is a great reminder. Simplicity is often the most powerful concept in a verbal share of any sort. Number 2, supportive elements to make your ideas stick, to have a great impact in your messaging, is be unexpected. The Heath brothers, in their chapter on unexpected, are talking about doing things in your speech or your video or your messaging or your communication that is unexpected. Almost, you ever had that moment where we kind of use a metaphor to speak about it, where the sheet is pulled out from under you, or the carpet is pulled out from under you? I like to do this in my introductions. When I'm giving a lecture or any kind of speech, I like to start off with a provocative question, like I did with this video when I said, do you want to know how to make a bigger impact on more people in your messaging? Check this book out, right? So the first thing that I did is I caught your attention. Sometimes people do this well with a well-placed statistic, or a story is really powerful, starting with a personal story of challenge and triumph. But whatever it is, it's not boring, right? We include elements in our speech or talk that people are not expecting. Very powerful. Here's the third one, is be concrete. What the Heath brothers mean by concrete is, instead of being conceptual and ambiguous, what a lot of people that we're speaking to often need is a tangible next step forward, right? This is very challenging for me to do sometimes. But the people that we're speaking to that maybe aren't at the same level that we are in the craft that we're speaking about, or the business or proposal or the thing that we're selling or explaining, they're not quite where we are at our level of familiarity. And so oftentimes people just need concrete, actionable steps. And that helps people. It doesn't make them an expert overnight, but that helps them wrap their mind around the thing that we're teaching just enough to move them forward so that we can teach them more and they can go deeper. Next one is emotion, or be emotional. We are emotional creatures. We like to think of ourselves as rational creatures. But if you've read the neuroscience behind the brain, you know it's out there for you to read. The brain operates to the end goal of the emotional components of the brain. Even our rational thought, we are emotional creatures. We feel very deeply. And so as speakers, we want to speak to people's emotion. Be real. In other words, be vulnerable. Talk about your experiences and your struggles, because you know what? The people that you're talking to probably also have struggles and hard experiences. And by sharing yours, you're tapping into what they feel and what they've felt, their felt human experience, and immediately there's a connection there, an emotional connection. And when there's an emotional connection between two humans, it's easier to receive the rest of what that person is going to say. So when I tell you to be emotional in your speaking, I don't mean like be an emotional roller coaster or be charismatic, although those are fine things. I mean speak to things at the heart level. Speak to their felt need. Speak to their pain points. Feel free to be vulnerable, to speak about your own struggles. Those are powerful ways of tapping into people's emotion. Speaking of which, stories. Human beings were hardwired since the very beginning of humanity for stories. We think in stories. Think about this for yourself. If you and I were friends and we were, just catching up after maybe a year apart over the dinner table, eating food together, and I was like, hey, how's your life been? You don't immediately jump into a bunch of data points, do you? You're not like, well, in 2012, this happened, and then the stock market in 2015, and such happened, and you don't go into all of this technical stuff, although that might be sprinkled throughout your story. My point here is we tell stories. We're like, well, I just started this job back in the day, and have been on this journey from that. I hit a few things that kind of rattled me, and there was a death in the family maybe, and this happened, but I'm kind of working through it. And you're telling the story of your life. It's the same with any kind of speech, any message, any YouTube video, any presentation of any kind. You want to really reach people at a powerful level. Speak about emotion. Just tell a story. Tell somebody else's story. Tell your story. Make up a story or as a metaphorical vignette of a truth that you're about to relay. Whatever it is, learn the art of storytelling. These, again, are from Chip and Dan Heath's book, Made to Stick, Why Some Ideas Survive and Others Die. Very impactful in my life for making my public speaking have a greater impact on people that are listening. If you want to start that, start digging into those 6 supportive elements. And if you're struggling with any of those, I'm probably going to pinpoint each of those and elaborate on how I would do each of those in a speech or a lecture or a presentation of my own, and how to effectively weave each of those into a talk or a YouTube video or an Instagram Live or anything that comes your way. So I hope that's helpful for you. Stay tuned for more material like that. And as for now, we'll talk about more of this as we go. But for now, think about this. Have you ever used any of these supportive elements, and have they been helpful? Or are there any other supportive elements that I haven't listed that you have found to be helpful? I'd love for you to share that with me, with us. Leave your answer in the comments of this YouTube video. And if you like this kind of stuff and it's helpful, please hit that subscribe button on the page, and I will be seeing you soon.